any client with that kind of asset wishes to stake it, I think is the succinct answer to that. So there's a huge demand, and we only see it increasing, right?
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown. In today's video, we're going to be discussing and talking through some ongoing developments, continuing to show you guys that institutions are 110% interested in adopting these digital assets and cryptocurrencies, along with earning yield through DeFi protocols on their digital assets, which is why we stress the importance of why you all as retail investors should start to learn how to do the same exact thing. Because these financial institutions, when they come into this space, they are not just going to want to buy and hodl their digital assets. They're going to want to generate yield.
First glance say, well, that just means it's not as attractive to institutions. That's not really the case. Institutions are smart money. They'll go to where the yield and the returns are. And institutions are deciding to go on chain and pursue that staking rate or more compelling yielding rates that are natively available in Ethereum and other ecosystems.
What is the interest in
blockchain infrastructure like staking from institutions? How many institutions are saying we want to touch staking?
So I think pretty much everybody dabbling in assets that can be staked wants to stake, right? There's obviously a risk in it, and there might be some institutions that constitutionally cannot do it. But that aside, anyone holding a proof of an asset that's sort of on a proof of stake chain wants to, we pretty much want, any client with that kind of asset wishes to stake it, I think is the succinct answer to that. So there's a huge demand. And we only see it increasing, right?
And those yield-bearing opportunities are coming out left and right at a very rapid pace. And so in today's video breakdown, we're going to show you guys some of those yield-bearing opportunities for institutions that are developing behind the scenes that the mainstream doesn't really touch upon. But we're actually going to start here with this fundamental piece from HPBL News, because I was mentioned in this fundamental report that was written only a few days ago, and it says, XRP holders urged to embrace DeFi opportunities on the XRPL for passive income in 2025. Now, if you're new to the CYPRX platform and you haven't heard us mention or talk about DeFi before because this is your first video breakdown, pause today's video, go back and watch the yield playlist on the CYPRX YouTube, and it will completely blow your mind via the opportunities that we now have as manual retail investors to earn passive rewards by utilizing our digital assets in the DeFi ecosystem. If you're not new here, then this article is going to come of no surprise because this is exactly what we've touched upon in previous video breakdowns. But I want to show you guys that not only are crypto news fundamentals going to start to talk about this stuff, but that also financial institutions are increasingly interested in digital asset adoption and that they are going to have access to these DeFi protocols to earn yield on their digital assets. So this article reads, crypto analyst, it's weird reading this because it's about myself. And I swear I did not write this. I just found it on the internet, which is just really cool to see that people are noticing some of the work that we do here at CYPRX. But crypto analyst and trader Cypress Demanacor recently shed light on a critical gap in the XRP community's awareness regarding the rapidly evolving decentralized finance or DeFi ecosystem on the XRP ledger. In a tweet, myself, Cypress Demanacor, called for XRP holders to take advantage of the growing opportunities to earn yield without having to sell their holdings. And keep in mind, I'm going to actually highlight this because this is going to play an important role. I've shown you that in previous video breakdowns, co-founders of the XLR network have openly stated this.
XRPL, to my knowledge, was the first blockchain to do asset tokenization. That was years before Ethereum mainnet even launched. I believe it had the first or one of the first order books on chain, and as Jazzy mentioned, those primitives are very strong and are very easy to use on the XRPL. But we cannot dispute that there's so much innovation on other ecosystems over the past few years, right? Ethereum has a lot of very strong DeFi primitives, AMMs, lending protocols. It's not, I mean, it's clear that big money managers like BlackRock are tokenizing on the Ethereum blockchain, right? So the innovation there cannot be discounted. And by launching an EVM compatible chain that's specific to the XRPL ecosystem. This will allow XRP holders who don't want to take their XRP and go to another ecosystem, they don't want to sell it, to natively use all these innovations, right? So it augments the capabilities of the XRPL with all of the innovation that we've seen in the Ethereum space over the past few years. And as a holder of XRP, you will be able to do interesting things like, well, let's get a loan on my XRP because you know these XRP people, like they're very, very big believers in XRP. Sometimes they don't want to sell. You get a loan on a stable coin and you can use it to pay your expenses.
But then I'm also going to show you guys how in today's fundamentals, institutional access to yield-bearing opportunities mention the same thing, that they are creating all of this, and especially these DeFi opportunities, so that way we do not have to sell out of our investments and we can just consistently earn yield, okay? Pointing out the untapped potential of DeFi on the XRPL. For years, Ethereum holders have benefited from a mature and thriving DeFi ecosystem, utilizing tools like staking, liquidity provision, and yield farming to grow their portfolios. However, XRP holders have been largely unaware of similar opportunities now available on the XRP ledger, despite advancements in the blockchain that enable such functionalities. CYPRX Domenicore highlighted that the XRP community has traditionally been loyal to holding XRP, holding tokens long-term with the expectation of future growth. Now, with DeFi mechanisms integrated into the XRPL, XRP holders can unlock new ways to grow their holdings without having to sell them, potentially adding passive income streams to their portfolios. Prominent voices within the XRP ecosystem have long been emphasizing the importance of DeFi and expanding opportunities for XRP holders. For example, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse has discussed the growing role of decentralized exchanges, i.e. DEXs, and other DeFi tools on the XRPL, noting that this aligns with the global shift toward decentralized finance. Marcus Infinger, a Ripple executive, has also encouraged XRP holders to consider leveraging DeFi tools. Ripple's president, Monica Long, has also highlighted the role of RLUSD, a Ripple-backed stablecoin, in scaling institutional DeFi initiatives alongside XRP. Moreover, a former Ripple employee, Warren Anderson, is working on a platform called ExoCore that will allow XRP holders to stake their tokens, expanding DeFi options and encouraging broader participation in the ecosystem. CYPRX Domenicore also drew attention to an important historical context that the XRPL was the very first blockchain to incorporate a built-in decentralized exchange functionality. This early innovation underscores the readiness of the XRP ledger to support a vibrant DeFi ecosystem, making it a natural fit for decentralized finance activities like liquidity provision, staking, and yield farming. So I just thought that this is really cool that an article was written about stuff that I've just trying to bring this to everybody's attention. Now let me show you guys that institutions are 110% going to have access to these DeFi opportunities, which is exactly why you as manual retail investors should start to pay attention to DeFi by educating yourself, by either joining mentorship programs or by doing your own personal research. So check this out, okay? This is an article that I used in a previous video breakdown that was posted from Cointelegraph, where the Bank of America CEO says that banks are eager to enter crypto if regulators allow it. So Bank of America CEO Brian M. believes U.S. banking institutions are willing to adopt cryptocurrency payments if proper rules are in place, signaling that financial industry giants are still waiting for clear signals from regulators before moving forward. And if you guys remember a previous panel discussion from just a couple of months ago, a representative from a large organization went on to say this.
When we talk about institutional adoption, we have centralized infrastructure and decentralized infrastructure. I think maybe another dirty secret is that the DeFi ecosystem is actually really small. And a lot of institutional adoption happens through real centralized infrastructure. John, what do you think about this?
So I think a lot of the risk controls are better in place today in centralized infrastructure. And so institutions naturally gravitate towards where risk is theoretically lower. I think the DeFi ecosystem has the capability to embed all of the regulatory compliance, institutional requirements, but it hasn't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Things like KYC, AML, transaction monitoring. That's beginning to happen now. And I think on-chain identity is helping move that forward. But I think there's actually structural benefits to decentralized infrastructure, namely around liquidity provisioning, where retail can effectively provide liquidity and earn trading fees rather than centralized institutions. So in the long run, DeFi kind of allows you to eliminate the Citadel Securities and NYSE rent takers of the world and to pass that yield back to the actual holders of the underlying asset. So I think in the long run, that mechanism is actually more favorable to the investor, but it just has to catch up from an institutionalization perspective to have the controls and have the risk procedures in place to be able to take that capital.
Right. So he's talking about the opportunities that we as retail investors have right now. He's talking about regulatory clarity, catching up on the institutional side of things, and how that is happening right now behind the scenes. Why is that so important that you understand? Based off this fundamental that I just shared with you guys, talking about DeFi developments on the XRPL unfolding for the very first time in history starting last year, giving us the opportunity to literally be our own bank, and then seeing that regulatory developments are unfolding at a very rapid pace. And now, fast forwarding to today, seeing large market participants on Cointelegraph openly admit and talk about how once the regulatory clarity is in place, that they are going to onboard into the space. Why is it so important for you to understand this stuff? Because banks are coming. You do not want to get into this market after the financial institutions come into this space and drive up the price valuations of these digital assets exponentially. Okay. And so let me show you guys that these large financial institutions are going to have access to DeFi yield bearing opportunities. Just to show you guys a couple, because I have literally hundreds of fundamentals that are shared in the private CYPRX Discord discussing and talking about ongoing DeFi developments behind the scenes. But just to name a few, this was posted from the Plume Network, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, on their LinkedIn profile just 7 days ago. And it says here, institutional DeFi is coming. Secure, compliant, real world asset backed. Look at the screenshot. It says institutional DeFi is brewing. It has BlackRock, Biddle, Hamilton Lane, and Benji as members listed on this little tiny screenshot. Now, if we just do an overview of what the Plume Network is, for those of you all who don't know, it says Plume is a public blockchain optimized for the rapid adoption and demand-driven integration of real-world assets. We recognize that the core driver of the real-world asset revolution is tangible demand, particularly for yield-bearing assets that offer stability, transparency, and income generation. Do you guys see those key vocabulary words right there? And if you look at who they're trying to advertise to, they have names like BlackRock, Hamilton Lane, and Benji, some of the world's largest financial institutions listed. Okay. And so I'm just trying to show you guys that these financial institutions are 110% tapped in to these income generating strategies, these yield bearing assets. Okay. By leveraging decentralized finance, DeFi infrastructure, as you heard that gentleman on stage mentioning and talking about how we now as manual retail investors have those opportunities. Our full stack vertically integrated technology, Plume, brings real world assets into the digital economy, making them more accessible, liquid, and efficient. We enable users to tokenize assets like real estate, commodities, and revenue streams, transforming them into digital assets that can be easily traded. Do you guys remember a video clip of an individual from Red Swan, a partner of Hedera, sitting on Hedera's governing council, mention and talk about how we now as retail investors have the same equal access that billionaires have had access to invest in certain assets over the past consecutive couple of years, now for the first time ever?
Ways of how people buy and sell real estate. It's really for the rich and famous, the well-to-do, because I go back and say that I started my career in real estate with Cushman & Wakefield for 17 years. I was the head of the capital markets division for Texas, and worked with a lot of institutions, a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers. And so that was the industry I was in, and those are people I work with, but never to the average person, right? I'm always making speed dials on 25 people and say, hey, I have this big apartment complex for sale, and they buy it. But never talking to the regular people who can really get involved in the high quality assets. Because, you know, there's different levels of assets that you can buy as investment. There's a mom and pop shops in the corner. There's duplexes. And then there's also institutional properties like this hotel that we're sitting in. And that's what I sold when I was at Cushman & Wakefield, hotels and multifamily properties. And I think it's important, and that's why I got into this business, to really be able to break down real estate so the average person can actually be able to invest in something of quality, something they can trust, and be on the same level as Bill Gates who's investing on real estate. You can just follow what he does because now you have that access.
And that is all through DeFi yield-bearing opportunities. This is so monumental. I really, truly don't think people understand the opportunity that we have to not only educate and empower yourself, but to take advantage of these opportunities if in the now you can stomach the risk. And if not, at least at a minimum, pursue your education. I encourage you guys to join a mentorship program, to tap into private communities. There are other communities out there besides ours here at CYPRX. However, I do encourage you guys to tap in with us here at CYPRX. Still, reach out, do research, watch panel discussions, read documents, open up forums like this is such a time to be alive. People that are lacking in terms of education and situational awareness of what's happening are honestly just putting themselves at risk to not keep up with the moving tides. All right. It says here that their mission, again, this is Plume, is to bridge the gap between traditional finance and crypto by aligning with genuine market demand and providing tools for compliance, transparency, and interoperability. This ensures both regulatory alignment and ease of use. So you guys can see that this is a regulatory aligned platform. And what are they attempting to do for institutional investors? Provide access to income generation yield bearing assets. Okay. This is so crazy. So that is one just key example more recently that is unfolded that we have uncovered here in the private CYPRX community. This is another post from a large market participant, Superstate, whom in which I've covered in previous video breakdowns in detail. Okay, again, go back, watch that yield playlist. I believe I cover and talk about this. Institutional access yield for crypto native investors. And you can see right down here on their Superstate Industry Council, XLR being mentioned. I covered this, I think, in previous video breakdowns. I don't particularly remember which one, but I covered this platform in detail. And here on their LinkedIn profile, you can see they say, our crypto carry fund, USCC, is now live on Morpho Labs, marking the first integration for DeFi for Superstate tokenized assets. Thanks to Stakehouse Financial, investors now have high-yield stable collateral options for use in Stakehouse's USDC real-world asset vault, tokenized assets, and DeFi combined. To bring DeFi functionality to life for our products, we've upgraded the infrastructure behind our tokens so they can be used in DeFi protocols while maintaining the highest compliance standards. Do you guys see that right there? So again, I'm trying to show you guys that the space is more regulatory compliant than most people can comprehend because people are so attached to 2022 and have not really done the research to see the ongoing developments behind the scenes and how well built the infrastructure has become 2023, 2024, and now rolling into 2025. Okay. The industry has matured significantly. Security has scaled and strengthened exponentially, and things are changing. And so you, along with your mindset, need to change with the moving tides, or again, you risk falling behind. This sets the stage for more integrations to come. We're thrilled to see Stakehouse Financial launch the Stakehouse USDC real world asset vault. This is just the beginning of us realizing our mission to bridge traditional finance with DeFi. So this is directly from Superstate. Again, I'm just showing you guys institutional interest in yield-bearing assets, yield generation strategies, and the utilization of DeFi in a regulatory compliant manner. Okay, keep in mind, Bank of America's CEO on Cointelegraph openly saying that when regulatory clarity is in place, institutions are eager to onboard into this space. I've also shown you guys in previous video breakdowns that we now, as manual retail investors, especially as XRP holders, for the first time ever, have opportunities to participate in the DeFi ecosystem, so you choose to do so. At a minimum, you should at least choose to educate yourself on the ongoing transformation. Last but not least, this one goes hand in hand with what I said in previous video breakdowns and what this fundamental article about me covered, where I said that we can earn yield on our digital assets without having to sell our holdings. Okay, you see that right there? This is where that's going to go hand in hand, because this is a platform called Realize. And 1 week ago on their LinkedIn profile, they say here, at Realize, they aim to go beyond just being a tokenization platform. They focus on providing real utility to tokenized assets, ensuring that they drive value in the broader financial ecosystem. Liquidity tokenized assets can be traded, collateralized, or integrated into DeFi applications, unlocking liquidity that would otherwise be tied up in traditional asset forms. Yield tokenized assets open up many opportunities for investors to earn additional income. By integrating tokenized assets into the broader financial ecosystem, investors can unlock value and maximize the potential of their investments without having to sell their positions. Ladies and gentlemen, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Again, showing you guys the realest information. This is not us mentioning this stuff to you guys. Okay, this is coming from some of the world's largest organizations and industry leading experts in this space. They see tokenization as more than just a means of creating digital versions of assets. It's about creating new opportunities, enhancing access, and reshaping how assets are traded and invested. We are going and living through a massive transformation, people. Okay. Having the mindset of just hodling, or that crypto is risky, or that you're going to get scammed in DeFi, or whatever the case may be, is such an immature mindset and approach to have. Take a mature approach, do research, join a mentorship program, conduct research in detail, and enlighten yourself on the opportunities at hand that we have to literally be our own banks with nothing but an internet connection and a mobile device. Okay. That is so powerful. As you all heard the industry leading experts sitting on stage, that we now, as manual retail investors, have the ability to literally supersede and go around financial intermediaries that have had control over the financial system over pretty much our entire life cycle. Okay. And this is all happening for the first time in history. It should excite you. It should accelerate your willingness to want to learn these things, to want to grasp new concepts, to want to branch out and, break free out of your comfort zone. Learn new skills digitally and apply yourself properly, and you can succeed. With that being said, as always, many blessings to you guys. None of this is financial advice. If you guys want to learn how we are deploying our digital assets in the DeFi ecosystem to earn passive rewards, you guys can always head over to CYPRXtrading.com, tap into the Wealth 28 Club. We would love to have you. Over 200 detailed private video breakdowns going over how we are deploying our digital assets in the DeFi ecosystem. And if you guys choose to not take that route, then I at least encourage you guys to do your own personal research, watch valid YouTube video breakdowns like the ones here that I've shown you today, read fundamental breakdowns, go on LinkedIn, go on Twitter, and do your own personal research on what is happening behind the scenes, because the information is readily available to each and every single person. So you choose to find it. You just have to take initiative, and the time to take initiative and act is now. So with that being said, as always, many blessings to you guys. Be cognizant, be aware out there, and I will see you all in the next YouTube video breakdown.